voices got higher and higher.
For me to start surfing, I was very fortunate because both my parents surfed, so they took me to the beach.
A place in the sun on a sand near a beach, a place near some green running water, a place in the hills with a view of the sea, and the cockhead was done by.
My dad was one of the first guys to actually start surfing in Newcastle.
To pro surfing, came very easily and it came at a great time. My decision wasn't very hard because when pro surfing sort of appeared in the early 70s, I'd kind of reached the end of the road in my amateur career. I think the first one I did good in was in 1976, and that was the Smirnoff event, which was held in sort of 20 to 25 foot surf at Waimea Bay.
And the winner from Australia is Mark Richards. Mark Richards winning $5,000. Inside my head, someone put out the line.
And I managed to make it to the final. It was amazing. I couldn't believe it. It is terrifying over there. The surf only gets big in November, December, January and February. And in comparison to Newcastle surf, most of the surf around here is in the 4 to 5 foot category, sometimes smaller, and we surf on sand bottoms. Like you fall off a wave here, say the water's about 4 or 5 feet deep, and very rarely you hit the bottom, but if you do hit the bottom, you just bounce off sand and it doesn't hurt. Whereas in Hawaii, the surf can range from anywhere from 5 feet to 40 feet, and people do go surfing when the surf's 30 or 40 feet. And most of the waves break on very dangerous coral outcrops because they produce, like the hollow wave, that shallow coral bottom produces a good hollow, fast breaking wave. And there's one place in Hawaii called Pipeline, which is probably the most dangerous wave in the world, and it's only about 4 feet deep, and the coral's not even, like there's jagged coral heads sticking up, and there's also caves in the coral. And what's happened is I've known a few surfers who have been driven to the bottom. See, when you fall off a wave, you hit the water and the wave explodes on top of you and it shoves you down and holds you down. Most of the times it just holds you flat on the bottom. When it releases, you swim to the surface. But at Pipeline, there's little tiny crevices and caves, and some people have been pushed down into these caves, and when the waves sort of let go, all the turbulence is gone, they've started to swim up and they've bounced, their heads hit a coral outcrop, and they've been stuck in a little cave, and they've had to sort of maneuver their way out of the cave. I worry about it a little bit, but I try not to take too many chances when I'm surfing that place. There's some of the safer beaches where the water's deeper, you take chances, but I'm actually completely paranoid of Pipeline. The only time I surf there is during a contest. And some people surf the place with no regard for their body. They'll take off on the biggest wave and just do the most radical maneuvers, not worrying what happens to them. But whenever I surf it, I take it very easy because I don't want to become a statistic out there.
first started going to Hawaii in the 70s. First year I went was 1972. That was all on single fins. A lot of the classic photos on the Reno Abilera shade magenta and yellow board. That was a 7'8" single fin. And then I rode single fins all the way through until 1982. There was single fins exclusively up to 1978. And then in 78, like, I reintroduced the twin fin. So for the world title years from 78 through to 82, I rode twin fins on 90% of the tour.
Surfboards with two fins had been around in the early 70s, but they didn't go very good. So I got the idea of trying to combine the best aspects of the single fin with what I'd remembered about surfing the twin fin from those sort of earlier years. So I managed to kind of come up with a package that sort of worked the first time. I got it right the first time, which was a bit of a miracle, but it was just an effort to try and get a happy medium between the two boards.
The first board I kind of created was in 1978 and became known as the free ride twin fin, which went so good. I couldn't believe how good it went. Like, it was fast. It was incredibly manoeuvrable, way more manoeuvrable than a single fin. I felt like I was going twice as fast. The main thing was I just felt it made me like really competitive in small surf because it felt alive and fast, and I wasn't scared of if I got to an event and it was 2 foot and on shore. I just went, I've got a secret weapon that after the first turn is going to keep going and go fast.
The bar was actually lifted as to what you could actually do on a wave, how hard you could turn, how vertically you could actually hit the top of the wave, and it was sort of the springboard for all my major competitive success, which really started to accelerate from 1978 onwards.
Diamonds in Johannesburg, dealers in the clearinghouse, the settlement explodes. High up in the homelands, rain glass in the promised land.
I thought I surfed pretty good on that one. I had some good waves, but as I was reading out the points, it sounded like Tommy was a little bit ahead in the points. So hopefully, I'd love to go to 3.
I hate surfing in contests. I enjoy going to contests and I enjoy seeing surfers from different parts of the world and surfing with them, but there's no one who can really push me on the level that I can surf at. The only times I can get pushed are when I go to a contest and you see surfers from Africa, Hawaii, America. I like to be pushed by other surfers because in turn it sort of lifts my performance as well, because I'm trying to surf as well as them too. But I don't really enjoy the competitive thing because it's got really cutthroat these days with the introduction of larger prize money and the man-on-man format. That's got really personal the way the contests have been run.
And the crowd has sinned. In the game of chance, the dice rolls its spin. Another long week, Lady Luck's made it plain. Dreams and his hopes are dashed in vain.
They were run with 6 people in the water previously, which turned into a little bit of a zoo because it was very hard to watch 6 people surfing. You might have a set of waves coming through and have all 6 people riding at once. But now what happens with only 2 people out there, there's an incredible amount of hassling, okay? And in 20 minutes, it's really important to catch 3 waves. It's judged on your 3 highest scoring waves. You can catch as many waves as you like, but they take your top 3 and total your points from that. And what happens is, it's not as though you both don't just sit out there and say, okay, I'll have this one and you have the next one. The two surfers are hustling and jostling and like pushing each other, all trying to get the inside position closest to the breaking part of the wave, which is the position where the surfer has priority. I'm reasonably mellow when I'm in the water, like a lot of the other surfers can hassle and jostle a lot better than I can.
Diamonds in Johannesburg, dealers in the clearinghouse, the settlement explodes. High up in the homelands, rain lasts in the promised land, panic and resistance when the people block the road. Over there, Kosciuszko, hot dry seasons years ago, darkness over Sheffield, now the fires begin to glow. No reason to hostility, now they'd like to be somewhere else. That's right. No stranger to brutality, now they'd like to be someone else. In Johannesburg, endless storm and struggle marks the spirit of the age. High up in the homelands, celebrations, promised land, exodus, they're storming after doors to get away.
The main reason I think Australian surfers have been dominating professional competition because they're extremely aggressive. Like, I'd surfed in 1 million contests before I ever went in a pro contest.
No ending to hostility, now they'd like to be somewhere else. No strangers to brutality, and now they'd like to be someone else. But not the broken heart and no, no good.
last couple of years, and it is pretty neat to win it 3 times because it hasn't been done before. And sort of in sports, I guess the ultimate is to win something 3 times. 3 seems to be the magical number. So I'm just, pretty happy that I've done it. The thing I find with sunset is no matter how much time you spend out there, it doesn't really seem to give you much of an advantage because every time you go out there, the waves are different. It's really a fickle wave.
There's some great surfing going on out there, and I think today, I think the favourite guy has to be Mark Richards. He's just got the great experience. He looks like he's doing pretty good in the semi-final, and he's kind of I suppose it'd be sort of a sentimental favourite. He hasn't done that great in the last couple of years, and it would be great to see him do well in this event. Well, I think it definitely plays a big factor at places like Sunset Beach. Most of the other guys you're competing against, with the exception of a few Hawaiians, don't really know Sunset well. They don't really know the lineup. They don't know the break. So experience plays a big part. But
to the outside, former 4-time world champion Mark Richards up and riding. Perfect wave selection for Mark. MR, his last contest he won was back in 1982. It's been a long dry spell, lots of back problems. He's a new man now, surfing the greatest he has in years. Recently married, his wife's on the beach, and he is performing flawlessly. Up and riding again, Mark Richards with another beautiful big peak on the outside. And he works this wave, a clean drop, and now it starts to reform on the inside reef. Here comes MR, 28 years old, from Newcastle, New South Wales, Australia. And right outside, Tommy Curran, 21-year-old from Santa Barbara, California, gets buried by the wave upon takeoff and miraculously comes out of the wave, standing up and cranks a bottom turn to the outside. Mark Richards, the 28-year-old, the 4-time world champion who clinched all his titles here in Hawaii. This is his spot. MR, working sunset like he's never worked it before. Here's Tommy Curran from the water. From this angle, Tommy Curran cranks an incredible bottom turn, redirecting his path up to the top of the wave. And Tommy Curran
second place, Tommy Curran. And the winner, Mark Richards. MR, $4,500 to Mark Richards, $2,500 to second place, $2,000 to third, and $1,300 to fourth.
MR, the champion.
I've kicked so many waves I wished I hadn't.
Of a girl, an Aussie with a will to win, 4 times world champion. How do you feel? With a proud Novocastrian grin, the first champ to use the twin fin. They thought it was weird at the time, he left them all behind. How do you feel? Banzai 5-line Hawaii, he took the Masters easily. How do you feel? I feel like a
wake up before dawn and look out my window and virtually see the city come to life.
Something has happened in the motorcade route. President shot down. Someone in the paper said the communists did burn down. Something has happened in the power plant zone. Could be a meltdown. Someone in the station hit the sentence while shot down. Caught between the shockwaves when the music hits the ground. Make the magnet stronger. I just wanna hear that sound. I wanna live here without fear. I wanna live here without fear. I wanna live here without fear. It only has to happen once in a million years. Something has happened in the government side. Workers are stood down. Someone got a message, leave the yellow cake in the ground. Something has happened in the underground mine. People are cut down. Someone left the package in the middle of the Christmas crowd. And all that I ever wanted was to get high. And all that I ever wanted was to live by and by. I wanna live here without fear. I wanna live here without fear. I wanna live here without fear. It only has to happen once in a million years. It only has to happen once in a million years.
It's definitely incredible. It's very hard to describe the feeling. Usually there aren't that many waves where you can get inside the tube. Like, you need a good size swell running, and also you need a nice clean offshore wind to hold the face of the wave up. And the way you do it is, as the wave peaks and lifts up, you take off and you slowly drop down to the bottom of the wave, and you hold your bottom turn and sort of you stall, like you lift the nose of the board, then let it fall down again. And while you've stalled at the bottom, the wave has tended to go past you and the lip of the wave throws out. And so when you get inside the tube, like, you're leaning right into the wall of the wave, and you've got to lean and almost touch the wall of the wave, because the further you lean in, the less chance you get of being knocked off, because the curl's coming directly over your shoulder. So you've got to pull this shoulder in. And when you're inside, the wave twists and bends. Like, you don't just go in a straight line and hold. And as the lip's coming over, it's coming over in different spots. And all you can really see, it happens so quickly. It's reasonably quiet in there. I think your senses are really primed when you're in there and you don't really hear anything. But you can see this hole at the end, like everything's green and there's foam and it's all gurgling and everything. But there's this little tiny hole and you can see the wave forming off. Sometimes you can see the beach in the distance. And usually when they're really good, there'll be some surfer paddling out who's seen it, and he's got his head like looking over the top of the wave. So you see this little hole with a head looking over at the end.
So far tonight, we've presented 9 of Australia's 10 most influential surfers, including Bob McTavish, Mark Occhilupo, Wayne Bartholomew, Lane Beachley, Tom Carroll, Bernard Midget Farrelly, Michael Peterson, Nat Young and Simon Anderson. So, who is Australia's most influential surfer? We've waited all night. Let's find out.
Mark Richards. By winning consecutive world titles over 4 years, from 1979 to 1982, Mark Richards became the first surfer in history to utterly dominate the World Pro Tour for an extended period of time. In 1979, he unleashed his secret weapon, a new take on the twin fin. In a testament to his now legendary shaping skills, this new design was perfect for the gliding, swooping turns that established Mark as the man to beat. Mark personified the consummate performer. His clean-cut, humble yet professional attitude brought competitive surfing a step closer to being accepted as a major sport. Mark remains passionately involved in the growth of our sport by working with Surfing Australia's next generation each year. Mark Richards, Surfing Australia's most influential surfer.
Sure, it's been a long time since I've won anything. Where do I start here? When I got the voting form, I put it on our kitchen table at home, and it took me a few days to actually fill it in. I actually kept looking at it and all the names on, and I just couldn't decide like who to actually sort of vote for on it. So my wife Jenny actually said, if you vote for yourself, at least you know you'll get one vote on the night. But seriously, it's a great honour and it's very flattering, and I feel incredible sort of up here and, you know, to receive this award amongst so many great surfers. You know, people like Bob McTavish, Nat Young, Lane Beachley, Simon Anderson, Rabbit, Ockie. There's just so many people who have done such some wonderful things for surfing, and it's you know, pretty amazing to get this. For me, surfing has been just incredibly special for me, and it's given me the most amazing life. And I think as surfers, we really get to do some special things, to ride waves all over the world and have friends all over the world. I guess last but not least, I guess I should thank everyone that voted for me. There must have been maybe more than one person that my wife suggested. Thank you. It turned out I sort of won, surprisingly, and basically thought, shit, this is pretty cool, you know, winning the world title and being, you know, the best professional surfer in the world. This is awesome. I'm going to try and win again, because no one's ever won the title twice. And then I concentrated on trying to win my second world title, and then my third and fourth world title, which sort of happened. And then after winning 4 of them, I was sort of probably a bit mentally and physically burnt out on doing the tour and all the travelling. After the 4th one in '82, I went back to concentrating on shaping surfboards again, which I'd sort of done for those 4 years, but hadn't, you know, all my effort had sort of gone into competitive surfing. I think, you know, what ends up being important is pretty much, you know, sort of how you've lived your life and how you've treated people and, you know, friends, family and, you know, wives and kids, and they become, you know, what's important and what you end up focusing your life on, you know.